cafe, and a hollow tablet that kept flickering, you have 3 new messages. The city's neon signs bled orange into the night, and the air smelled of fresh air and street cooking. My phone buzzed again, and a notification popped up. Pippi, meet me at the plaza, 1915. I laughed. What's she doing at the plaza? She's an interstellar diplomat. She should be at a council meeting, not... Before I could finish, a flash of green skin slipped past a group of tourists. Pippi was there, her luminous complexion catching the street lamps like a mirror. She wore the beige corset that always seemed to hug her curves just right, black strips framing the sides, and a black choker with a white monogram that glimmered. Her long blonde hair poured over her shoulders, and her red lips formed that little smile that meant, I'm about to cause trouble. She had been my girlfriend for just a little over 2 weeks now. Judson, she called, voice bright as a siren. You're late! I grinned, tucked the cup under my arm, and tried to sound nonchalant, fashionably. She stepped forward, and the crowd around us seemed to split. People from every corner of the galaxy, humans, xylo-tentacled merchants, chrome-skinned cyborgs, paused to look. It was as if the whole street had been waiting for a show. I followed her gaze across the plaza. 2 human girls nearby were whispering behind their hands and glancing at me like I'd accidentally worn someone else's jacket. I leaned closer to Pippi. Do I have something on my face? She didn't answer right away. Instead, her grip on my arm tightened. Not painful, just firm enough that I noticed. Her smile stayed bright, but it felt practiced. Nothing, she said quickly. Just stay here. A chrome-skinned courier slowed as she passed us, giving me a long, appreciative look. Pippi shifted slightly in front of me, blocking the line of sight without seeming to. I raised an eyebrow. Protective tonight? She smoothed her hair, still smiling. Observant species. Uh-huh. Another group stared. Pippi exhaled softly through her nose. Then she looked up at the holoboard. That was the moment her expression changed. Not angry, not playful. Decided. Oh, she said. I have an idea. What's the plan? I asked, leaning against the metal railing of the plaza's central fountain. She brushed a strand of hair from her face, her eyes flashing. I'm going to mark you as mine. Publicly. I blinked. Mark you? Like a tattoo? She laughed, and the sound rang out, drawing a few more glances. No, I have a better idea. Pippi raised her hand, and the plaza's holoboard, normally flashing ads for anti-gravity shoes, flickered to a bright green. A bold, glowing script scrolled across. Pippi's boyfriend is off limit. Do not approach. A gasp rippled through the crowd. A couple of teenage humans giggled, their eyes wide. An older alien with 3 eyes stared, eyebrows raised. Someone else whispered, Is that a legal restriction? I felt a hot rush of embarrassment and pride. I'd been the center of attention for a while. Human clubs, alien lounges, even a few Senate parties, but never had a girlfriend claim me in a way this dramatic. Looks like you've got a neon sign now, I said, trying to keep the tone light. She stepped close, her breath warm against my cheek. You're mine, Judd, and I want everyone to know it. The plaza's speakers crackled, and a jaunty synth-pop tune started playing. On a screen above our heads, a cartoon version of Pippi, wearing a tiny version of her corset, was holding a big red heart with a lock symbol. My phone buzzed again. A message from an old friend. Dude, you're officially taken. Congrats. I laughed out loud. Well, I guess I have to live up to the hype. She pressed a sleek metallic device against my chest. It was a tiny projector, and when it activated, a holographic halo of green light hovered above my head, pulsing slowly. The effect was both adorable and slightly terrifying. Now anyone who looks at me will see you're not single, she whispered, her lips brushing my ear. I could feel the heat rising in my neck. The plaza was alive with whispers, cameras flashing, and a strange sense of being on stage. I'd never been comfortable being the center of a public spectacle, but with Pippi it felt exhilarating. That feeling lasted about 3 minutes. A Xanthar trader with purple skin and a great body looked at me, her tongue flicking. "Congratulations on the acquisition," she purred, her hand sliding over my forearm. "But my offer still stands. A night on my orbital yacht?" I tried to step back. Thanks, but..." Pippi's smile didn't waver, but her eyes sharpened. Her fingers slipped from mine for a second before she took my hand again. "He is taken." The Xanthar trader chuckled. "So I see. The branding is cute. A temporary field, yes? I have a field dampener on my ship that could remove it in seconds." She winked at me. "For a small fee, of course." Before I could say nope, a silver-skinned Gizo, one of those emotion-reading aliens with big boobs, bumped into me, her big eyes wide. "Your aura is fascinatingly claimed. May I study the synaptic resonance of your bonded field? My institute will pay handsomely." A trio of human influencers with floating camera drones swarmed, their voices a blender of excitement. "This is the ultimate content. Alien girlfriend marks territorial human. Hashtag taken. Hashtag alien pride." Pippi's triumphant grin started to look strained. The crowd wasn't scattering. It was converging. My hollow halo, meant to be a deterrent, had become the hottest new trend. I was a walking, talking, hologram-topped exhibit. "Okay," I said, grabbing Pippi's hand. "New plan. Run." We didn't run so much as we were carried by the tide of curious, hopeful, and outright opportunistic beings. A vendor tried to sell me a get-out-of-taken-field-free coupon. A Varan security drone zipped down, scanned my halo, and chirped, "Relationship status confirmed. No emergency here. Carry on." Which did nothing to stop the flow. We ducked down an alley, the synth pop of the plaza fading into the grimy thrum of the service lanes. Steam hissed from vents, and the orange glow was replaced by flickering blue repair lights. I stopped to catch my breath, Pippi pressed against the cool metal wall, her chest heaving. "Maybe," I said between breaths. "That was a tiny miscalculation." She buried her face in her hands, her green skin flushing a darker shade. "I just wanted them to see you were mine, not to turn you into a carnival attraction." "It's okay," I said, though my nerves were shot. "We just need to go somewhere they won't follow, somewhere private." "The Grand Helix," she said suddenly, her eyes lighting up. "The resort spire. We can check in as guests. No one gets into the private guest floors without a registered key." "And how do we get a key? My wallet is full of credits, not diplomatic clearance." She pulled a small, shimmering card from the folds of her corset. "My emergency override. It will get us a suite." She bit her lip. "It will also log us under a false identity. My father would be so disappointed." I took her hand. "Your father isn't here. I am. Let's go." The Grand Helix was the city's most exclusive hotel, a twisting tower of glass and crystal that pierced the smog layer. We took a silent ascent in a private pod, the city's frantic energy falling away below. The suite was all soft lights, warm woods, and a floor-to-ceiling window that looked out over the glittering metropolis. It was silent, save for the hum of the environmental system. The moment the door hissed shut, the tension of the street evaporated. Pippi sagged against the door, her shoulders dropping. "I'm sorry," she murmured. "I turned our relationship into a spectator sport." I crossed the room, took her hands, and pulled her into the center of the space. "Look at me. The only person who gets to mark me is you. That halo was just loud." She smiled, a real tired smile. "Loud. Yes." Her eyes traced the line of my jaw. "Do you hate it? Being claimed like property? I'm just so jealous." I opened my mouth to answer, then stopped. The plaza replayed in my head. The whispers, the staring, the way she kept shifting closer to me. How she stepped between me and that courier without even thinking about it. I'd thought she was showing off. I hadn't realized she was holding on. My chest tightened a little. "Pippi." I said softer. That wasn't about marking territory, was it? Her eyes flickered away. That was answer enough. I lifted her chin so she had to look at me. I didn't even notice them, I said. Not one of them. You know why? She shook her head slightly. Because I walked into that plaza looking for you. I wasn't being taken away from anything. I was arriving. Her breath caught. You didn't put a sign on me, I said. You panicked because you thought you might lose me. A long pause, then quietly. Yes. She looked down at our hands. It's not just tonight, she said softly. Ever since we became a couple, they look at you. I frowned slightly. They? She gave a small, self-conscious laugh. Everyone. Waitresses linger. Strangers start conversations that don't need starting. Half the time they don't even notice I'm standing next to you. Her fingers tightened around mine. I know you're not encouraging it, she added quickly. That almost makes it worse. You don't even see it. I smiled gently. Then next time, just grab my hand. I'll still be here. She reached for her device but hesitated. Once it's off, the signal is public. Everyone will know the claim is withdrawn. They'll come back. I understood. She was afraid of losing the declaration, even though it had backfired. We don't need a public sign, I said. We just need to know. She looked up, searching my face. You're sure? Positive. The only advertisement I need is you, right here. That seemed to break the last of her anxiety. She kissed me then, not with the playful announcing kiss from the plaza, but something deeper, warmer, a silent agreement. Her lips were soft, the taste of her like sugar and starlight. My hands found the clasp of her corset at her back, fumbling for a second before it gave. The beige fabric fell away, and she stepped out of it, her skin glowing softly in the dim room. She was all smooth curves and powerful lines, her chest full and heavy, her waist narrow. She was breathtaking. I guided her to the large, low bed. She pulled me down with her, her long hair fanning out on the white linen. This wasn't a hurried escape, it was a rediscovery. Her hands were everywhere, tracing the muscles of my back, gripping my shoulders, tangling in my hair. She murmured in her native tongue, a fluid musical language that made my blood hum. I kissed a trail down her neck, over the slope of her chest, earning a sharp gasp. Her skin was cool and smooth, like polished jade. She arched against me, a low moan vibrating in her chest. Her fingers dug into my scalp, not to hurt, but to hold me there. We moved together slowly at first, learning the rhythm again after the chaos of the street. Her body was strong, responsive, meeting every thrust with a lift of her hips. The green of her skin seemed to pulse in time with her heartbeat. I watched her face, her eyes closed, her brow relaxed, her red lips parted. She was beautiful, exotic, and completely vulnerable in this moment with me. She flipped us, straddling me, her blonde hair a curtain around our faces. She looked down at me, her expression a mix of awe and possession. You feel so good, she whispered. So mine. Yours, I echoed, my hands on her hips, guiding her. Always. The world narrowed to the slide of skin, the sound of our breathing, the soft creak of the bed. The pressure built, coiling tight in my gut. I felt her tighten around me, her rhythm faltering. Her head fell back, a silent cry on her lips as she came. The sight and feel of it pushed me over the edge. I thrust up one last time, my own release sweeping through me in a wave of pure, silent relief. We collapsed together, sweaty and breathless, her body a warm weight on my chest. The only light was the city's glow from the window, painting the room in blues and golds. After a long moment, she rolled off, but kept her hand on my chest, right over where the projector had been. It's still on, she said quietly. I kissed her forehead. Turn it off. She reached for her device on the nightstand. A few soft taps, and the soft green halo above my head winked out of existence. The tiny projector on my chest went dark. The public claim was gone. I hadn't once wished the halo was gone, only that she didn't feel she needed it. She tossed the device onto the rug. There, no more ads. I pulled her closer, her head on my shoulder. Now we're just us. She was quiet for a minute. Do you think they're still out there? The ones from the plaza? Some probably are, but they don't know where we are, and even if they did, they'd see a closed door. I ran a hand through her hair. The only marking I need is the one you just gave me, the one nobody can see. She tilted her head up. And what marking is that? I smiled. The one that says my heart's not on the market anymore. She kissed me, slow and sweet. When she pulled back, her eyes were bright again, but with a different fire. Good, because I'm not sharing. Nope, I said, nuzzling her neck. You're not. Later, we ordered room service, real protein steaks and synth wine, and ate in our robes, barefoot on the plush carpet. We talked about everything and nothing, her boring council meeting that morning, my frustrating holo-tablet messages, the absurdity of a Zenthar trader thinking a dampener was romantic. I think, Pippi said, spearing a piece of steak, the real mistake was the public part. Next time I'll just whisper it. I laughed. Next time, you're going to mark me again? She shrugged, a mischievous glint in her eye. Maybe, but I'll make sure it's a private signal, something only I can see. Like what? She leaned in, her lips close to my ear. Something that says Judson Kettering's heart is currently employed. Application for vacancy is permanently closed. I pulled her into a kiss that tasted of wine and promise. Outside, the city glittered, a million unnoticed lights in the vast dark. Here, in this quiet room high above it all, the only thing that mattered was the woman in my arms. The public spectacle was over. Our private world had just begun. And I had a feeling that with Pippi, it was going to be a hell of a lot more interesting than any neon sign. No crowd watching, no audience to convince.